Okay, hello boys and girls. I thought I'd make this video on various tarot decks that are, if you collect tarot decks, if you collect them, this might be something interesting for you. I have a little bit of information over the years of what I've gathered here that, if you see something on eBay, looks like you might want to get it, this might help you with that type of thing on a few different decks. People that know me know I use the Marseille, Tarot Marseille, and so I have those all over the place. I got cards all over the place. Yeah, this is an old deck of mine, and I use Grimid's version of this. Comes in a red box, out of print now. Well, it's not out of print. You can't find them in Chicago anywhere anymore. But I got enough. I got a half a dozen brand new decks here probably somewhere. I got cards laying around all over the place. So this is an older version, and you can tell they've been used. What I like about that deck, though, is I always liked the thickness of it. It was the first deck I got back then. This is what was available. That's about it. But it's a thicker deck than your standard deck. Standard decks of cards, and it's a thicker card stock. And before this one, this is from the 80s, I believe, and before this they had this, which is the same deck, Tarot Marseille, Grimid, and it's a lot thicker. This card stock is thicker than this card stock. But they were quite thick. They have, show you a difference. This is the thickness of the deck compared to a standard thickness. You can see the thickness is really there. The card stock is a heavier stock, makes it harder to shuffle, and if you riffle shuffle, you wouldn't want to use this deck. So, but if you like something different, they are impressive looking when you're reading with them because the thickness of them and the artwork. If you know, just what it is. If you like that kind of deck, you can find them, and you don't mind struggling with the shuffle, you might like them. The thicker one. A green box like this, it'll be a thicker stock from the 60s, I believe. Orange box, 80s, maybe 90s. And then they have this too, which is a flat box. And this was also a very thick deck. It came packed like 2 packs like this, and then when you took them out, you have that thick deck, and that's what they look like. Another interesting thing with this is these are the titles in the bottom. And later on, they put 2 titles on there. They put the French and the English. And in order to do that, see if this is one of them. Yeah. You can see here, this is the thicker, the orange box. Here we have the World and we have Le Monde on there, as opposed to just one. We'll find a title card. A thinner one title on the bottom, like here. And in order to do that, they actually had to crop out some of the image. And what they did is they took a lot of time to do that. They compressed different parts of the body on the card. So they didn't just crop off the bottom or the top of the card. They actually went inside the image and moved things around and smashed the card a little bit to do that without it looking too distorted. And you could tell some of the cards look a little odd when they did that, if you really look close. Not bad, but they looked a little short, people in the body. And so if there's two titles on the bottom, the image has been compressed in certain ways. They're done by hand to jimmy the image around. And the instruction booklet is in the orange box like this, was white like this. It's translated from French, and kind of hard to understand what they're talking about in there, because there was some typesetting and problems. But this is back a while ago. That's why. Now today, I'm sure that that's not like that. If you get this deck. So, put these back. Tarot Marseille. So if you find this is very rare. This is kind of rare to find. You'll find them on eBay now and then. Price, whatever the person's looking for. I think I paid $20 for these. I got a couple of them, but I haven't bought cards in a while. I'm probably using right now 8 different decks of tarot cards as a reader. Wherever I'm at, I have them, so I just use what I got there, including in my car. So, but I don't really need to buy any. I don't buy anymore. I don't collect decks, and even though I have a bunch here, but I know a lot of people that do. So I thought this might be interesting for you. Another deck that's sort of old now is this deck. This came out in 1970, the 1JJ Swiss. And the reason they called it that is because before that, this is basically the only deck you can buy in circulation at the time. The regular Marseille deck, that was just tarot cards. Then they came out with this in 1970, U.S. Games, Stuart Kaplan. It's really from 1800s, but he put it back on the market in 1970. And the reason it's called the 1JJ is because in the Marseille deck, you didn't have a high priestess, so you didn't have a hierophant. You had a pope and a lady pope. Yeah, a lady pope. The popus, or a lady pope, depending on the deck. And what, in the 1800s, they decided they had more respect for the church, so they decided to call that, they went with 2 gods of ancient Rome, Juno and Jupiter, and they replaced the Pope and the Lady Pope with them. 1JJ, Juno, Jupiter. This is the High Priestess today, Juno, the Lady Pope of the Marseille, and Jupiter's in here close by. Yeah, there's Jupiter. Hierophant, Jupiter. So that's why they call it that. The artwork's pretty nice on this deck. It's pretty cool. It's from the time, and it's a good deck because I still read with it now and then. and you can see that. But it's a traditional deck, so a lot of people don't like it because it's the pip cards. It's just pip cards with the minors. But this is pretty common. You'll see this deck a lot on eBay. If it's in the box like this, it's an older version. And it also comes in a flip box, which was later on. This deck might even still be on the market today. They might still be printing that deck. I'm not too sure. But if they do, it's a flip box now instead of this kind of a box. Same year, 1970, they came out with the Rider-Waite deck. That was originally 1910. It was taken off the market or lost over time. Maybe it was printed, I think, published in London, I believe. It was in Europe. I think London. In World War II, I think that's when they lost all that. And Stuart Kaplan, the same year, 1970, brought out this deck. He also brought out this deck, brought it back on the market, and it caught on like a virus. This deck here, because it had pictures on all the cards. The Rider-Waite, and if you see these on eBay, the yellow box like this, it's an older deck. Now today, if you get this deck today, buy it on the street, I mean at the store, the titles in the bottom, Pamela Smith, she drew those in along with the card. And you can see that this title, the Knight of Swords, it's not even centered right. You know, she just drew it in. And so what they did is they took they chopped that off. Now they created a new box, and they typeset the titles in now. That's what they do now on this version of the Rider-Waite deck. The yellow box version. The Universal Weight, they don't do that. They still kept the old original Pamela Smith illustrations on there. And I think the other various decks of the Rider-Waite deck that U.S. Games puts out, they kept that in there. But if you get this straight version, it's going to be blacked out, and they had to crop the bottom just a scotch to put the new box in, and typeset the title in. So if you can see, if you're looking at the deck, if you're looking at an eBay or wherever you're looking at, if you can see the cards, if they're showing the cards, if you can see that that's not typeset, it is an older deck. One of the Rider decks or the Waite decks that I don't think is in circulation anymore is the Golden Rider. And it might still be in circulation, but I haven't seen it anywhere. And it's just colored differently, that's all. Here's the Chariot. And you can see it's just, they're different. They're colored differently. Here's the Five of Wands. Eight of Cups. And that's called the Golden Rider. And I haven't seen this around for a while. It used to be in the stores. This was given to me by a store owner that I worked out of years ago as a gift. So I don't use it. I don't read with it, but that's the only reason I have it. That's it till next time. So remember, read responsibly. Don't read and drive.